You are now listening to Highline's newest social justice podcast, Safer Sound. In this radio show, we will open our minds and our hearts to new perspectives and new people. Let's explore together the meaning of creating true, safe spaces in the Puget Sound and our local areas, especially through a transformative justice lens. Transformative justice is all about getting to the root of the systemic issues that continue to threaten the safety of our communities, not just physical, but also psychological and emotional safety. We want to see a more safe and more harmonious future for everyone in the Puget Sound region. Shout out to the Highline Heritage Museum for serving as our home base, and to One America 106.5 Low Power FM for offering this beautiful and unique space for us to have this show. We also want to give a shout out to Washington State Historical Society for sponsoring and making this show possible. Thank you so much for tuning in. My name is Tian Van, and I'm so excited to talk with you. Everyone, and welcome to Safer Sound. Today I have a guest that I'm so excited to talk with today. He is someone that I really look up to in community, and we connected through the ballroom scene, which we will be talking about today. And I'm just so excited to pick his brain about things because he really is someone who is very influential in not just here in this area, but like just other places too across the U.S. and stuff. So, is there anything else, Julian, that you want to share about your? Are you still the ED for SWACE?
Yes, I am.
So Julian is also the executive director for SWACE, which I totally forgot what that stands for.
So it stands for the Stephon Wallace Advocacy Community Engagement Health Program.
Oh, yes, the one that was named Dr. Stefan. Okay.
Yes.
Yes, that's awesome. So SWACE is a really awesome organization that advocates for queer folks and youth as well, and folks who need extra support. Do you mind telling us a little bit more about that, just so we get an idea of what you do on the day to day?
Yeah. So SWACE is pretty much my baby. It's something that I found to be integral for community at a time where there was once an organization that was doing similar work, but it then ceased and it was a big void. And I was already doing that work, but I've always been a reluctant leader. I prefer to guide and support and teach people behind the scenes for those folks to be more visible. And I don't necessarily have to be in the forefront because it's a lot of work. And what happened was with a lot of conversations and the untimely passing of Dr. Stephanie Lee Wallace, folks just kept asking me, am I going to continue to, do this work? Because I was ready to walk away from all of it, honestly. Because it was very taxing on my mind and my heart and spirit. And so pretty much with SWACE, the entire mission is to explore the intersectionality of art, healthcare, and culture for marginalized communities, specifically Black and Brown, queer and trans and gender nonconforming, and everyone else that may be marginalized folks. And what we do is try to make sure that we act as a liaison for folks that are looking for resources in community. It could be as simple as, hey, I'm looking for a nail tech. Hey, I'm looking to find a all women's themed party where I can feel safe. Who can I talk to that's a gender nonconforming like doula or a therapist? And then on top of that, it just so happens that the program was derived from Ballroom, which was derived from prejudice and discrimination and within the pageant system that actually helps kind of birth Ballroom. So it was interesting because I felt the same energy when I moved here from Baltimore because we're not the majority here. If you're a person of color and you're part of a marginalized community, you're not the majority. You're less than 4% in Washington State, and Washington State is a conservative state. So programs like this are very unique. And also on top of that, when you look at it throughout the entire region, SWACE is the only program of its kind that's doing this type of work. That has gotten this actual reputation for what we do, which is we do a lot of non-traditional outreach and have a lot of more social media approaches to being able to engage with those folks that need resources and services. And they could be from anything that's super low capacity to something that's very high capacity. But that only is able to occur because of the partnerships that we have with a lot of the community partners that we've been able to actually work with over the past through Ballroom. So it's definitely been like this full circle experience. And currently, that's what SWACE is still doing and what we're still thriving to do. And we're always open to expanding our resources and services. And yeah, that's where we at currently.
Okay, so y'all hear that? Go check out SWACE, maybe donate, or even
Yes,
if you
please.
need resources, open your purse. Yes, thank you so much for sharing that. And I wanted to clarify for those who are listening, Stefan was an icon in the scene who passed away actually very recently. That was like 2 years ago.
Yeah, it was like 2023 was when he passed because he passed ironically, his passing was the day of For the Culture, which was that in that year of 2023.
Oh, it was that
Mm-hmm.
day?
Yep, it was that literally that day. So that was the day that I found out. It was just a lot happening that day, but I can say that his work and his legacy still thrives. Stefan was a phenomenal epidemiologist. He was a great faculty member for the University of Washington. He's actually featured in the Smithsonian for his work. He was also someone that helped with the development of the COVID-19 vaccinations. And then also, in addition to that, he was someone that also worked for the Centers for AIDS Research as one of the heads there. Um, also, he also worked as as someone that's in charge of the department for the HIV Vaccine Trials Network, which
Okay.
basically echoed a lot of advocacy and equality for marginalized communities by being able to go into communities and meet them where they were to marry the worlds of research and community and show how that could work. Which is why he was so involved in the ballroom scene and involved in the community while he was here in Seattle. And so he was someone that I looked up to that was able to use a lot of his work and also show how his visibility and community can be integrated and can be used as a tool to be able to bring people the resources and services and also help push ideas and programs that community wants authentically.
Mm-hmm. Like straight to the source. Like
Yes,
it's made by the people for the
for the
people.
people. Hmm.
That's beautiful. That's really awesome. And I can hear like that you were inspired by him and that you're kind of carrying on that torch that he left for you.
Yeah, look, I'm doing what I can with what I got. So, and if folks are interested and wanting to know more about SWACE Health, they can go ahead and visit us at www.swace, SWACEHEALTH.org. And if folks would like to donate to SWACE, you can go ahead and just hit the donate button on our website, and then it'll take you to our PayPal, which is through our physical sponsor, Queer Life, and shout outs to them. And simply just put SWACE in the notes section, donate what you like, and we appreciate it.
Absolutely, because this is an organization that's still growing and very recently has sprouted. So they really need all the support they can get. If you want to see them grow and you want to invest in brown and black folks who are queer and trans in the area, then please donate to this cause because they really are doing something that no one else is doing and they're meeting a need that no one else has bothered to do. So this is so important and integral to the work that Julian's doing with Ballroom as well, because that's the core, that's where the community came from. And so, can you tell me more about that intersection and how it came out of Ballroom?
Oh, and so with that intersection, it came out of ballroom way before I came along to Seattle. It's always been around where um, ballroom being a space that now has been viewed as a safe space, and also some people view it as a drop-in space to receive things that they may not be able to receive outside of that space, right? So Obviously, we look at balls, people see the glitz, the glam, the trophies, the competition, all of that, the hype. But also, do you see how it functions as a drop-in space? You have people that may be displaced, that need a hot meal, that may need to charge their phone, that may need to bathe, that may need, like some type of clothing, or they simply may be connected to someone to help them with resources. When you see that that need is there, and that these same people that are competing or participating in ballroom are in need of these services, you want to make sure that their wellness is taken care of, right? And so how do you do that? First, you have to look at the fact that there's some autonomy there. So you're not going to force someone to drink water. You're going to go ahead and lead them to the water and be able to see if they want to drink or not. And so by giving them that autonomy, by being able to have representation within these spaces, that actually are experts and professionals in a variety of different fields that are able to really, first off, have empathy about the community and also willing and open to wanting to learn. That also helps with building that community trust that can often be broken or non-existent. And so with that, all over the country, this model has been utilized when it comes to a lot of community-based organizations that are trying to incorporate ballroom into their work, by being able to uh, promote access to HIV testing or HIV prevention services, or housing services, to anything that's a social political determinant of health, and looking at how we're able to reduce that or be able to reverse a certain way of thinking or change of behavior by being able to have these services available, right? And for free. I think that's one thing that's really important too, is that you have to also look at it as if you're someone that's also in the field of public health or healthcare or education or advocacy or anything around that. And you also in ballroom, you have this responsibility of being able to kind of walk this line of recognizing the needs of community, but still making it palatable for folks within another community that you're a part of, but then also making sure that you're not selling out your community to reach a deliverable, but also making sure that you are not selling people that are in community with needs a dream versus selling them the reality. And so walking that line is a very unique space to be. And also it is something that we found to be effective and still going on to this very day. It's just that now social media is so much in the forefront of it that you have instant access to folks. You can answer questions. If you have anything as far as like inquiries about resources or just looking to talk to someone, it's as simple as opening your phone and being able to talk to someone. And so it's changed now due to a lot of those factors. But that intersection was actually done due to the fact that around the time of the HIV and AIDS outbreak, there was a lot of folks that were dying, and many of those folks actually were a part of ballroom. At that time, they were still trying to figure out a proper ART before there was the one-a-day pill that was actually derived, how to be able to create something that's like a cocktail. And so this cocktail was created, but it was really doing a lot of harm to people's bodies. But then also you have people that were still able, but you have people in the ballroom scene who had heard of the HIV and AIDS epidemic because they had friends and family around them that were, falling ill or passing away from it. But then also in the same token, what can we do to educate, and how can we spread the word about prevention services and access to, into HIV care and things of that nature as well. And so folks started showing up at balls, folks started showing up at places where, people would be at. Like back in New York, you had the Pier, you had Christopher Street, you had, all these different places, and you would do outreach and engage with community. And then eventually when people started receiving a lot of funding, then you have these CBOs that had buildings. And so people were able now to go ahead and go into these buildings and talk with folks and on a regular basis. But this time you're not talking to some pasty white woman who you don't even know. You're talking to someone that actually, maybe from down the street on your block, and you didn't know they were an expert in this. And now you're able to feel a sense of, okay, you know what? I don't feel a sense of judgment. And I can now go ahead and talk to this person about my issues or concerns. And it helps with that change of behavior once again, to where you're now going to go into care and engage in care and take it seriously. And that doesn't take away from you being in ballroom, because as someone who may be in ballroom and also maybe accessing care, you are now going to be someone who is able to really have a sense of balance of how to do both, but also you now have support in both fronts, because now there's someone that maybe in ballroom and also in public health that's able to support you. You know what I mean? Because also, like I said, that duality is important because you have to know which hat to put on and which hat to take off. And so, as someone who wears both hats pretty frequent, you just need to know how to go about having an empathetic yet realistic and respectful demeanor when speaking to people about various things, and knowing how you are approaching this person and in which capacity. Am I talking to you as someone that's a part of your care team, or am I talking to you as someone that's a colleague in ballroom? And so that's really based off of the circumstances of the setting that we're in and things of that nature as well.
Hmm. Thank you so much. And thank you for that history. I want to clarify for those who are listening who might not know too much about it. Um, the HIV pandemic was very closely related to ballroom because there was, yeah, because of who it affected the most was queer, gay, trans people. And so that's what Julian is talking about. And I think that it's so important that we focus on these issues as well because I think people like you said, they just see the ballroom and they see the flashy stuff, but they're not thinking about the deeper part, like us as humans and us as people who have needs. And even though we're killing it on the floor, we still might not have a nice place to lay our head, a safe place to lay our head, or even food to eat. So that's just something that's the reality for a lot of people in the ballroom community. And yeah, like that's something that I think that Julian has spoken to very well. And I would love if we could talk more about ballroom stuff, actually, if that's okay.
Yes.
I really want to get some, I want to like pick your brain about you. Like,
I mean, The Wedding Planner is one of my favorite movies, and that or Monster-in-Law, either one of those two.
I haven't seen either of those.
They're very cheesy rom-coms, but they're funny, and of course, they have happy endings, so that's why I like those.
You like cheesy movies?
I do. I
Me
mean,
too.
and the funny thing is, a lot of people from the outside that don't really know me will assume that I'm a hard ass that doesn't like people and all the like people have their own perceptions of me. So I
Mhm.
find it interesting when people who actually get to know me really are like, oh, like he's completely the opposite. And I think it's just the fact of that when I am at a ball or if I'm curating an event or I am hosting a drop-in space, I'm on because the thing about it is I have to be. So that means I'm not going to be necessarily like away. I'm being aware because if someone hurts themselves, I have to be able to help them. If someone is in danger, I have to get them out of danger. So I can't sit up here and be kicking with everybody and all these different
Mm.
things. And so I believe that there is some perception that I'm not approachable or I'm intimidating, and that's not the case. I'm just someone that is really like a helicopter mom in a way. Like, because some people even like not trying to be anyone's parent, because some people are just grown, but it's more along the lines of like, that's how I've been actually mentored is when you're now hosting an event or you now are doing a drop-in space or if it's something with your name on it, you need to be alert. And I can't be distracted with frivolous conversation or basically worry about things that are not pertaining to what's in front of me right now.
Hmm. I
So,
see
but
what you're saying.
that could be misconstrued. So, especially living in Washington, where there's a high level of hypersensitivity within our community. You know what I mean? So, like, for
Mm.
example, some people will misconstrue things, twist things, run to the internet and try to cancel you. There's a variety of different things they would try to do because they only know this type of culture and they only know what they've been brought up around versus I'm not from here. I'm from Baltimore, Maryland. So moving from Baltimore, we have a very hustle mentality. We have a thicker skin. So
Mm.
our approach is very direct. And sometimes that can read off as you being very nasty or very rude. And it's not the case. And some people just don't like that over here. They don't like that approach. They don't want that. And they would do anything to either have you change it or just have you out of community.
I feel like I've noticed that too. Just growing up here, like what you're talking about. Almost, I think you mentioned performative activism earlier,
Yeah.
and I feel
Yeah.
like yeah, like kind of within that same vein of like not really like you're talking the talk, but you're not walking it. Um,
Exactly. It's a
yeah.
lot of people. It's a lot of people that will sit on the internet and go on Instagram and go on these foo accounts and write things underneath your pictures or write statuses about you or write things about the event they went to and have so much to complain about, but they don't want to actually get out and do the work. It's a very laissez-faire uh working mentality here, and I think that that's something that's interesting, and I'm not from that cloth. Like I'm the type where I'm getting to the bag, I'm getting to the end goal by any way possible. If I got to sit up here and have a bunch of sleepless nights while everybody's sleeping, I'm sitting up here, I'm looking for grants, I'm fine tuning programming. I like my
Mhm.
day normally starts at probably sometimes 8, sometimes 10, and doesn't end till 3 a.m. because I'm sitting up here working so much. And I think the thing about it is that because nobody just gave me anything. A lot of the things that I've done in Seattle, specifically when it comes to the ballroom scene, is because I've had to go out and network. I had to meet these people. I've had to put some of these folks in their place. I had to educate them. I had to let them know that you may be a white person, but you're trying to work with a black individual. And so your whiteness and your privilege is not going to be welcomed in this space in the way that you believe to. So I had to become the martyr for various organizations and companies to want to even believe in ballroom in this area. And how to do so is by being able to really lay down the law. Because as I tell people all the time, I'm not going to be doing this forever. So my expectation is for people to step up, but don't have our scene regress backwards. Continue moving forward because now the foundation is set. You just need to now add to what's been set. So then the next generation after that person can add. Because I feel like sometimes there are people that are in ballroom that have their own versions of what they want ballroom to be. And that's not the reality. Some people are like, oh, well, can we just do away with the grand prizes? Oh, can we just do away with the subcats? Oh, can I do this and then do that. And it's like understanding that ballroom has been derived, yes, out of prejudice and discrimination, but also it was created on the foundation of a pageant system. So you have to understand that format as well. And can systems be changed? Yes. Are they going to be changed overnight? No. But that is hard for a lot of people in this community to understand. And then also another thing is that people don't like rejection. And in ballroom, you have tens and chops, which are pretty much qualifiers or these or disqualifiers if you can compete in your respective categories. Some people feel
My
like,
gosh.
you chopped me. Oh, you don't like trans women because you chopped me. Wait. How did we go from you being chopped to now this person don't like trans women or trans men or GNCs or it goes crazy, and that's the thing that I have basically been the champion of being able to say, hey, that's not this and this is not that. So let's not put those two together, but also understanding that this change of behavior in our scene is because I was able to basically revitalize our structure, the frequency of the balls that we have, our reach, because my name is the one that's being used to get into these spaces. But the only reason why my name is being used to get into these spaces and because of the work that I've done in both ballroom and also in public health. So I'm leveraging that to be able to make the balls bigger and better, to make programming bigger and better, to open myself up to mentoring, and also looking at it from the fact of how can I support existing efforts that are outside of what I'm doing in different places like Portland and Denver. And now I will be doing a runway class in is it called? What is that place called in New Mexico? Is it Albuquerque?
Oh yeah. You going to
So
Albuquerque?
yes, they have a whole scene.
Oh, I saw you were just in Colorado too.
Yep, I was just in Colorado. I will be going to San Diego in October. And then I'm trying to work my way to Hawaii. So I'm just making my rounds. I'm just doing what I
Just
can.
all for ballroom stuff.
Yes, but literally just teaching, educating, helping uplift other scenes. And that's what you do when you are a actual legit community leader and not someone that's just in a house and you're just putting on this front for other people. Like I'm actually doing the work and I'm doing the work for free. So, and not saying that you should not, and I'm not telling the viewers and listeners, you should not pay people in ballroom, please pay us. But I'm doing the work for free because these places that I'm going to, their scenes are still somewhat new. So I don't want to be that person that's like, okay, I see this is a new scene. I can now manipulate or overcharge these people because they don't know no better. So I'm playing off that negligence and that's not right. So all the classes that I've been doing lately, I've been doing them for free. So literally I just get on a plane, teach, go to the hotel, sleep, wake up, come back to Seattle. So not a dime has been made on these classes because I'm doing it because I love community and I want to see the community grow beyond Seattle. And I want people to take heed to that and be able to do it. There's so many people that I think will be great instructors and be able to go places like I do. And they can. They just got to want it and they just got to continue to work on the floor, meaning they need to continue to build their name and build their portfolio and build the respect and that respect of the people and go from there.
So what kind of advice do you have for someone who wants to get into the organizing aspect of ballroom?
First off, watch. Find somebody that's already doing organizing work and actually ask them to be a mentor so you could be a mentee. And then from there, be able to really see and watch what they're doing and also ask questions. Like, there's nothing wrong with asking questions. And then also be able to challenge yourself to say, you know what, I want to do something small. Because I always tell people, don't go for something so big as to, oh, I have to plan a ball. Who's saying you have to plan a ball for you to still be impactful? There are so many other things you can do. Like, for example, you can sit up here and be like, you know what? I would love to create maybe a mural about ballroom in Seattle, right? So, and
Mm.
you may be an artist. So you're able to first do your research, find out who are these people you're going to put in this mural, be able to get images of them or be able to take images of them or be able to paint them as they are in real time. You're able to now really now encapsulate them in a time that is now part of history. And you yourself will then be now someone that is a part of history by acting as another historian that's able to tell the story about Seattle's ballroom scene, but through your form of art. And being able to take that same motif and idea and probably copy and paste it in other places. It's just you have to think of unique ways, because here it is. And also, because once again, ballroom is community, ballroom's competition, but it's also a business now. So you have to look at it from that aspect. And you have to know your market. You cannot have so many ballroom events in a space where the community is only but so big. So they're going to go to spaces and go to events where they know and guaranteed already know that the experience that they're paying for, they're going to get that 2 times over. You know what I mean? And also on top of that, being able to really just think of what ballroom does not have and how you want to integrate that. Like what's missing. Like I know for me, there's so many things I would love to do. Like one thing I really want to do, and I haven't told anyone this, is I can't believe I mentioned this early. I actually mentioned this on this interview, but I've mentioned it. Actually, correction, I have mentioned it to 1 or 2 people. In another life, I would be a wedding planner, obviously, and so I'm into events and event planning. So one thing I found to be difficult for me is finding event spaces where I can host balls and host different events. So for me, I want to actually open up a event space. I want to have an event space. I want to invest in it. I want it to be a space that's for anyone that's in need of it. Because we don't have many, and there's so many people that want to create and want to do things, but they don't know where to go. Or better yet, like you have a lot of youth that need spaces to go, and they don't have spaces to create because, most of the clubs and bars are 21 and over, or when they used to have the 18 plus parties, they're no longer here, and house parties are non-existent because you have a lot of HOAs that have noise complaints that happen at past 10 o'clock. So you have all these different levels that you try to go through. And so for me, I want to do that. If I ever was to like eventually step away from everything that I'm doing as far as like being as visible, I would be going more into that realm. But I would think people just need to think of what's missing and how they can add to it to help with the continuum of sustainability and visibility of ballroom.
So basically think big.
Not think big. They just need to think about what's missing.
Okay, yes.
Because like for
Bigger
example,
picture.
think big picture, but think what's missing that can start off small and grow.
Just that one step, like
Yeah.
start the smallest possible step.
And
what is an example of something that someone could do to take that step?
I think an example is, well, first you have to embed yourself in community. And what I mean by that is not just simply just going to a ball, like really immerse yourself in community to see what's happening and what's missing, right? Like, we have 2 scenes now. We have one in Seattle, now we have one in Tacoma. So Tacoma is the one that needs a lot more love, needs a lot more support, needs a lot more foot traffic. So that means that we now have to start to do some of our events and some of our programming in that area. So what does that look like? And so this is another exclusive. I haven't said this yet. But for the culture, which I have every year in August, has been traditionally in Seattle for the last couple of years since I've done it. Next year that will change because we're coming to Tacoma. We'll be hosting for the culture in Tacoma. It will be, we're looking to work with anyone in Tacoma to make that weekend very robust. We're looking to work with nightclubs, we're looking to work with bar owners, we're looking to work with people that own beauty supply stores, retailers, anybody, universities, just to make sure that we are saying like, Tacoma, we haven't forgotten you, but we also want people to know that like, we're not just Seattle based. But also in addition to that, like I said, folks just have to look at what's missing. So like, for example, if it was me and I'm just coming into ballroom and I wasn't who I am, and I saw that mental health was something that was needed, but there wasn't enough work being done to really focus on Black and brown youth and young adults and mental health, I would gun to try to create something that is derived from that and that need, but my focus and audience would be those youth and young adults in ballroom or ballroom adjacent. So that's how you do it. So the thing about it is that there's another organization like LRP, Lavender Rights Project. Please make sure you guys donate to them and make sure you support them. We love them. Lavender Rights does a lot of work, advocacy and social justice and restorative justice work, but they don't do a lot of direct services. So that means that you creating that mental health like component piece could help many of their folks that they get that actually are in ballroom or ballroom adjacent. So in reality, you're doing your part. It's just you're doing your part not in the way that you think that has to be ballroom. You're still servicing ballroom participants. You're just doing it in a different way. So you have to investigate to see what's missing and what you feel like your niche is and how you can create that to make that special.
Mm. I really love what you're sharing right now because you're really taking the focus off just the balls. Like you don't have to it doesn't have to be about the balls if you want to be a leader in the community. There's like Julian said, there's so many other ways to get involved, so many issues that we need addressed.
Yeah, like it's totally. If mark my words, like if folks literally just took themselves out of it, because I think also one thing, and before we close, one thing that I found to be interesting is that there are people that feel like in order for me to be seen and respected, I have to throw a ball. In order for me to be validated, I have to throw a ball. No, you don't. Sometimes you just existing and being good at what you naturally are good at is enough. But you have to tell yourself that so then other people can believe it. But
Hmm.
also understanding that there are so many people that are in ballroom now, but do not walk or compete or throw balls, and they still are integral. Dr. Jenny Lee, who is literally one of the board members of House Lives Matter, she herself does not compete. She don't do none of that. And she is still renowned for her work because she has been able to do something that no one else has been able to do, which is to host these convenings all over the country, to have hundreds of people in ballroom, a variety of different intergenerations come together so we can actually talk about a larger strategic plan about sustainability, services for ballroom, international ballroom alliances, also looking at ways to make sure that we're supporting local ballroom scenes. And what does that look like? And that is that's a larger picture than what I'm trying to do. So, but she's someone that is not in a house, but is world renowned, has a name, used her existence, used her privilege to get her to where she is, but also to give back to a community that gave to her. So there's
Hmm.
so many ways you can do it. It's really choice. Do you want to do it?
Right. I feel like a lot of people do, but they don't really know how to like pinpoint that,
Do
what it
they?
is for them.
Do they? Because I've been here now going on about to be 5 years. And I can tell you right now, I disagree. I think it's laziness. I think what happens out
For
here is
sure.
people wait for something to fail. And when it fails, they want to pick it up and then fix it in their image versus starting from the ground up. Because starting from the ground up is a lot harder versus you picking up something that already has some meat and bones and potatoes for you to now be able to really remix and remake into your own image. It's kind of like you have a house, the house, you no longer, you've outgrown the house, and now you put it on the market, somebody buys it, and now they now are renovating the home. The home comes out fab because now they've put 250,000 in the renovations. But versus getting a home from the ground up where like you have to break ground and all of that. Nobody wants to do that.
Mm-mm. Yeah, like they may want to, but
Are
not
they
know how
going
to.
to? Right.
Or not even know that they're doing it in a way that isn't constructive to the culture and the community.
Right.
Hmm. Well, is there anything else that you wanted to share out to folks before we close up and stuff?
Oh, well, I guess I will just reintroduce myself. My name is Julian Julian Everett. Some people know me as legendary Julian Balenciaga. Some folks know me as the icon Julian Telfar. And also, I am the co-founder as well as executive director of SWACE Health. If you want to find out more about SWACE Health, please go ahead and visit us at www.swacehealth.org, which is SWACE health.org. Please make sure you donate to us. Happy Pride. If folks want to know how to donate, simply go to our website, hit donate. Mind you, it'll lead you to our PayPal with our physical sponsor of which is Queer Life. Shout outs to them. Put SWACE, SWACE in the note. Donate what you would like, and we appreciate it. And I just want folks to just continue to be themselves in this crazy world that we live in. Love on yourself, love on your neighbor. Simply sometimes just asking them how they're doing is great. It shows that you have empathy. Support Black and Brown, trans and queer and non-binary events that are happening all year long, not just during Pride. Do it 365,
Please.
please. And also make sure that you guys continue to support this podcast, like, and support this. This is really big and really huge, for folks to definitely learn more about different communities and different cultures and different experiences. As you know, Washington is huge and there's so much happening that's great. And to have a platform like this to be able to give us the opportunity to share that is definitely an honor. So thank you so much for even thinking of me and even considering me in this space. And I don't take it for granted. And
Yes. You're the
I
first person I thought of. When I was thinking
oh
about Pride Edition, I was like, I have to talk to Julian.
yeah, well, I appreciate it. I tell people all the time, like, ironically, I'm very socially awkward. I'm very shy and I'm socially awkward. And so when I am asked to speak or things of that nature as well, I do get a little nervous. And then also on top of that, I prefer sometimes not to do it. But once again, it comes with the territory, like I have no choice but to do it. So I'm learning to shake that. So, this helps me get over my anxiety. So thank you so much.
You are so great. I loved everything you shared. This is definitely one of my top interviews so far, just in terms of the content that was shared. And I thank you so much just for agreeing to come here. I honestly hope that you can come back. So,
Yeah, I mean, look, you just let me know when, and we'll make it work. I know we both are busy this summer and stuff, but I'm open to, even if it comes down to it, even doing it in person. I don't mind, actually, because I will be in Tacoma quite a few times this summer because I'm going to be preparing everything for the culture in 2026. So, one of the locations that I found is like this old train station. So I'm going to be going there to see what the scope of it is and if it's still like feasible to throw something
wait,
there.
at Fright House?
I think that's what it's called. Yeah.
Oh, okay. They have a rooftop there.
Yeah, that's what I heard. So
It's
I'm
pretty
gonna
nice.
yes, I wanna actually go and see what it looks like and meet the folks who run it and stuff like that and see if we can go ahead and go for it. And if we can, that'd be great. And see if we can partner with some local Tacoma organizations that want to be a part of it and stuff like that. And just really go all out and just have a great time.
I feel like you always go all out.
Oh, I it's funny because what folks don't see is the behind the scenes chaos to get to what y'all enjoy. They just see the finished product. They don't see when your house looks like a Costco, when you got all these boxes. They don't see when people fall through because of personal reasons. They don't see the endless nights of just trying to make sure shipment comes in and day of ball and do you have all the grand prize money, all the it's just so much stress sometimes. But ironically, because I wanted to be a wedding planner, it is exciting to me too. So it's kind of a sick way of organizing and thinking. So I need to go see my therapist.
You'd be a great wedding planner on it. I want you to throw my wedding.
I mean, I told myself honestly, if this economy does not improve, and because I work for a nonprofit, and God forbid the nonprofit I work for, outside of SWACE, ceases to exist. I told myself that I was going to go ahead and just go ahead and go get a business loan and just open up my wedding planning business. But I don't think it would be great in this economy because everyone wouldn't be able to support it because who would want to get married if they can't afford it? So it's like I was like, okay, I got to think of another plan.
You do small weddings, small events.
But well, actually, this is a fun fact. I am a notary. Actually,
What?
I'm a notary and an ordained minister.
You're ordained?
Yes, I got ordained on the internet.
You do
So,
it all.
but see, I won't tell. Well, I won't say who got me ordained. I will say this. It was one of my house kids. When I used to be the mother of of the Kiki House of Mattel. She was getting married, and she reached out to me and she said, "Hey, I want you to, officiate my wedding." And I was like, "Girl, I'm not no damn, minister or priest or anything." And then she asked me for like. But she already knew most of my information because she practically was here all the time, and she since has gone off and now has like lived her own life, and we're still close to this day.
Hmm.
Very proud of her. And she said, "Check your mail. You're now ordained." I'm like, "What?" And I'm official. I'm an ordained minister, so I can officiate weddings. I can do all those things. It's crazy. So
Okay, I'm keeping that in mind.
that look, hey, you just let me know.
Mhm. Well, thank you so much for coming today. I will definitely be inviting you back. I would love if folks who are listening, if you're interested and you have questions to ask Julian for next time, go ahead and send those in. And yeah, just thank you so much, Julian, for being here. I really appreciate it. Like
Oh,
it's been so long too. Like I haven't seen you in so long. Well,
look,
I mean, I just saw you like a couple weeks ago, but that was for like 5 seconds.
listen, I be in and out. Like honestly, like I be all over the place. So I'm very excited to see how this is gonna go. Right now, I'm currently preparing for Strike a Pose. So any of the listeners or
Yeah.
supporters that would like to come to a ball, they've never been to a ball. This is the official Pride Ball of the season. It's called Strike a Pose. And you can find out more information actually on our Instagram account at www. I say www like I'm giving you the website. Oh, yeah, actually, yes. Go on www.swacehealth.org and then hit the Strike a Pose link on our and then also on top of that, or you could go directly to our Instagram account, which is strikeapose.sea. So strike a pose all together and then the period, then SEA. And the ticket link could be in our bio. And also check out Story for updates. And yeah, tickets are on sale. Tables are going very fast. And hope to
Oh
see everybody there
no.
on June 13th.
I gotta get my ticket.
Yeah, they like it's crazy because that's another thing. Like people like to buy their tickets last minute, and I'm like, like it's not even the sales that's the stressful part. The stressful part is more the lines of like we oversell sometimes, and now we like we gotta accommodate. You know what I mean?
I
So
feel like that's always an issue.
yeah, because okay, so to give you some more inside tea, we normally have like 225 tickets on sale. We break those up into pre-sale, general, door price, and then also we have the VIP table sitting. So the thing is that they're broken up by those. So based off the venue and based off the size, we then are able to decide how many of those tickets, as far as tables, we're able to disseminate. But then also we have publicly announced when there are going to be sales and when those sales end. The problem is that it's the last minute group that everyone's like, oh my god, I want to go, I'm going to buy my ticket, and we only have
Sorry,
like
that's me.
and we have like only like let's say about like 50 tickets for door price, and then we exceed that and sell over like 150 tickets. But then in pre-sale and then in general admission price that we had, we probably sold like probably like 25 in pre and like 45 in the other. So it's like, come on. So no, but I mean, but also that goes to show that ballroom is now growing and that the scene is growing and so many people are now interested in ballroom and there's a space for us now. And I think that's great. But no, it's always a pleasure getting to, talk with you. And thank you so much for the opportunity. And if there's any other questions or any needs that you guys have, please let me know. And I just appreciate the opportunity.
Thank you, Julian, and have a good rest of your day.
You too. And I'll be talking